In arch is a hike double arch, north and south window. It was already getting to be pretty close to 3 o'clock, and I really wanted to do that delicate arch trail. I had no idea what I was in store for going to see Delicate Arch. The trail says it's 1.5 miles, but nothing can prepare you for how interesting that it's a climb. It really is a climb. You kind of come up this half dome shaped structure to get to the top of it, and then you wind along some switchbacks and cliff edges to get finally to the arch. And wow, is that a reward. It had been cloudy all day. We had sunrise that morning, just on the horizon, clouds all day long. It got really gloomy while I was at arches, but when I got to Delicate Arch, as I'm getting there, the sky starts to open up just a little bit on the horizon, on the western horizon. The sun comes out and just kisses the side of Delicate Arch and just made it look like, just the iconic, photo view that you get, all the travel guides for even the United States or for just the state of Utah. It was just iconic, that view. So far, walking to Delicate Arch, by far, has been the busiest thing out of everything that I've done on this trip. It's mid-December in Utah. It's winter. And that was the only bit, and it wasn't that busy. There was just the most people out of everywhere was the walk to Delicate Arch, which is interesting in and of itself because of how strenuous really that hike is. That's not something that everybody can do. I crashed in my hotel room at about 8 o'clock, and that was it. I was just out. I slept like a rock. Woke up probably 5:45 in the morning. My mind's still 2 hours ahead of that, so it didn't feel like it was early at all. Ate some quick breakfast and journeyed out to the road leading to Canyonlands and took an even better sunrise than the other two. Best sunrise I think I've watched ever. Best sunrise ever. I'm calling it. Best sunrise ever. This was going to be a bumpy ride. I might have to turn around at some point. Sort of dip down into this valley. This trail is usually frequented by Jeeps and four-wheel drives, but this time of year the clay is pretty hard packed, and there's no snow right now, no ice, no freeze-ups. Well, there could be some ice, but not enough to, I don't think, give me any issues. The clearance could be an issue though, so I gotta pay attention to that. I do a lot of two-tracking back in Michigan. Not that that translates very well, but I have enough practice that I feel okay. It's nuts. Can't really see it that well on the GoPro. I'll have to... I can see by the road down below that I'm probably going to turn around here, but pretty nifty. Something to think about for next time. 27-point turn. And we're off. I'd much rather do that in an appropriate vehicle.
by canyons. And this one's just carved out by a little wash. Not even like a whole full-on river.
I have this whole view completely to myself. Utah in winter. Try it. It's awesome. The canyons just keep getting bigger. This is Green River. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I see ya. Day 4? Yeah, it's day 4. Third night, 4th day. Sunrise in Canyonlands this morning. I started to feel like I might be sick. So if I sound a little nasally, or if I'm pulling at my nose a little bit, I think something caught up to me from either the plane ride or maybe inside of this car. It's a rental car, you know, how many hands have touched it. The last vacation I took, which was the Eclipse trip and Rocky Mountain National Park, I made it up to Mount Evans and then came down sick, coming down from Mount Evans. Awful. Well, on this trip, I made it to Canyonlands and realized I was sick. I've been coughing and hacking and having to blow my nose, and at least At this point, I haven't had any trouble getting my ears to pop. That's my biggest concern. That turns a crappy cold into a miserable one when you can't get your ears to pop. One of the vacations I got sick on to Playa del Carmen, and on the way back from Playa, something didn't feel right. Ear was weird. Just something didn't feel right. And on the plane ride, I was doubled over in the plane in pain. I could not get one ear to pop. The other one was fine, just the one ear, and it didn't go away. And that by the time we landed, it still wasn't any better. Jaw was swollen, and my ear was sticking out of the side of my head. So I took a ton of ibuprofen and went to bed. Next morning was worse, and I ended up going to the emergency room, and that time I got sick with an ear infection. Swimmer's ear, specifically. Apparently I picked that up in the ocean, so can't win. Why do I always get sick when I go on vacations? This sucks. I'm not going to stop taking them. I'm not going to stop taking vacations, that's for sure. I just need to learn to stop getting sick on vacations. Somebody got any tips? Oh boy. Canyonlands turned out to be way cooler than I thought. I kind of imagined small slot canyon, slick rock with some, gaps in it. I did not realize it was a small Grand Canyon. It's deep, it's big, it's wide, it's huge, and it's beautiful. Unfortunately, because of all of the drive time that I have to do, I didn't end up stopping long enough to do any real trails there. I'm hoping to make it to Monument Valley in time and maybe do some walking around there. If I calculated anything wrong, it's the amount of time you need to stop and take a trail. Oh, this trip is a half mile, but it's 500 feet of elevation change, and it's going to take an hour. The half mile back at home, when you're calculating this up, oh, that's half mile. That's I don't know, 20 minutes. That's no big deal. Round trip in less than an hour. Take pictures. No, it's an hour of slogging on, and then resting and taking pictures, and then usually a quick hike back. So definitely need to leave more time, spend more time in each park just to do hiking trails. For a very long time I've had this fascination with Utah and the Intermountain West, and I haven't made it out this way. I went through Arizona when I was a kid, and I've been to California a couple of times, but I wanted to go to Utah. I really wanted to see Utah. I'm going to show you something kind of funky. This is the punch out from a Coke box, like a 12-pack. This is where you punch out so you can access the Coke. Watch this. I'm going to take it apart at the seams, fold it in half. Okay, let's fold it in half. Alright, I'm going to fold down the edges, kind of like you're making a paper airplane. Kind of difficult to fold because it's fairly rigid cardboard. Alright. Fold these up. And bend these back the other way. You can kind of refine it a little bit. Grab yourself a pair of scissors, notch keys. And you've got Spaceship One, complete with the feathering tails. In case you're wondering, no, it doesn't fly for crap. Anyway, Spaceship One from a Coke box. Alright, now Branson, Scaled Composites, it's on you to make this thing take some passengers. I'll sign up. when I'm rich enough. YouTube. Ravioli, ravioli. Give me the formioli. So what makes this stove so efficient is that it burns everything twice. I have everything kind of off on an angle here because there's a piece of wood stuck back there, but it'll settle down. It gasifies the wood, and what that means is that not only is it burning and producing flames, but by heating wood that's unburned, it releases a gas. Just like any other gas. It's a CH2 or a CH4, I can't remember which. And it comes out underneath the stove down here, and there's a little lip, and then it rides over that little lip and melts your fork, rides up over that little lip, and then comes out and looks just like stove flames. There's little holes, little slots for it. So nothing more than a few twigs, a couple of branches, and there's no trees around. So this is all just little sagebrush, and I only took the dead stuff off. Something like this stove will work basically anywhere there's some kind of plant life or burnable material. It's actually coming out of those little holes in the sides, and that's the stuff that burns the most efficiently. I'm just going to get a couple more pieces of wood. Should be good to go. Now, one small mistake that I made when I ordered these two parts. That's a snow peak. It was measured as being, I believe, 6 inches, which would be from the edge of this to the edge of that rather than the pot itself. If it were 6 inches, then the stove would fit inside of the pot, and that was kind of the point. I'll probably replace this one with one size bigger, and then it'll work fine. How you doing? Yeah, there's like $30 on Amazon. It's a little.
Oh, you're eating. You know what? I thought you were trying. You're not trying to get smoking gun, are you?
No.
Oh, I thought you were trying to take an arson.
No, it's a stove. But good idea. Good thinking.
Wow, that's really cool.
Well, it wasn't intentional. Yeah, I can make little maybe signals or something like that.
Have a good one.
Yeah, no problem. See ya. Do you know your zodiac constellations? I don't mean, are you into astrology? I mean, do you know your zodiac constellations? Did you know that you can tell time with the zodiac constellations? From a scientific perspective, the constellations in the zodiac are the constellations that the planets, the sun, and the moon all travel through as the Earth orbits the sun. So right now, the sun is from the perspective of Earth, the sun is over the constellation or in front of the constellation, from our perspective, of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is where the sun is. Moon, of course, moves across that same path across the constellations that the sun does over the year, only it moves into a different constellation every few days from our perspective from Earth. So if there's a full moon in December with the sun in Sagittarius, the full moon will be in Gemini. And also with it being full, the moon rises when the sun sets. Conversely, when the sun rises, the moon is setting. You can kind of get a picture of how far away you are from morning or evening based on where the sun and moon are, right? If the moon is straight up and it's the middle of the night, you know you're halfway through the night. You can use the position of the moon when it's full to roughly gauge what hour of the night it is. But what if there is no moon, or what if the moon is in a position where you can't see it? Waxing crescent and it's 3 in the morning. You're not going to see the moon. You're not going to know that it's 3 in the morning. But I'm going to tell you how to tell time. Because if you know the zodiac constellations and you know where the sun is in the zodiac constellation circuit, then you know the opposite constellation. The constellation opposite Sagittarius, as I mentioned, is Gemini. And if you have a new moon or a crescent moon or just a moon that's not visible, you can just look for that anti-constellation to whatever constellation the sun is in, based on knowing where the sun is in the zodiac. So when the sun sets, roughly when the sun is setting in December, Gemini is rising. It's a little later at this point in December. It takes a little longer for Gemini to rise, but you can follow Gemini across the sky. When it's rising, it looks below Taurus to the left of Orion. So you follow Gemini across the sky. When it's straight up, it's midnight. When it's halfway set from midnight, it's going to be probably about 3 in the morning. And when it's about to set, sunrise is about to happen. I hear that as a common complaint among survivalists and bushcrafters, or people that are stuck in situations where they're alone overnight and they have no idea what time it is, and they're just praying for the sun to rise. Well, I can't help you if it's cloudy, but if the stars are out, by golly, I can tell you how to tell the time. All you need to know is your astronomical signs and your constellations and this little trick. Anyway, there's your life hack. You can tell time with the constellation. I forgot to mention, the scientific way to say zodiac constellations is to say the constellations along the plane of the ecliptic. Ecliptic coming from the word eclipse, which is where planets and the sun can pass in front of one another as viewed from another planet. The plane of the ecliptic. Letting this guy use my battery. Charge up his phone so you watch a Steelers game.